background isn't too distracting. Hey, yo, what's going on, all my gamers, all my Wuthering Waves gamers? So, today I want to talk about the 1.3 story, which seems to be, in a weird way, very divisive amongst the gacha creators. You know, everyone has their own opinion, you know. You have some PvP that just randomly gets enabled just because people didn't like the story. Some people did, some people didn't. Some people think that it's the best story. Other people are calling it absolute dog. But I want to give you my opinion, right? I'm going to give you how I feel about it, and this is just my personal opinion. So if you don't like it, I'm sorry. Like I always say in every video, you guys are always allowed and almost encouraged to call me an idiot in the chat or in the comments down below if you think that I am wrong. You know, I will never be like, oh, you guys have to agree with me. This is my opinion and you guys need to have it too. No, of course not. You guys can always tell me if you guys agree or if you don't. So we got to go through pros and cons like we do in every video. I love making these videos, by the way. Something about discussing and analyzing stories is pretty cool. But first, let's talk about the Blackshores. Now, the Blackshores in itself, the map, I think it's gorgeous, to be honest. Like, one of the small details that I personally really like is walking around the beach or some of the sandy areas where it'll light up under you. I think that's really cool. And then once you get into the Tethys system, it starts to glow under you. I think it's red, the color. I don't remember what color it is. When you get on the sand, it kind of mirrors it, but it does it like in the Tethys system way, so it's a different color. I think that's pretty cool. You know, stuff like that, I really like it. I ran around in the sand for like a minute or two, just staring down at my feet like an idiot. I thought it was cool, you know? Something like that. I think it's really cool. I like the night setting. It seems to be more in the nighttime, and that's what I really like. It just adds to the ambiance of the place and stuff like that. Now, when we go to the Blackshores, of course, we got to talk about Shorekeeper. Now, Shorekeeper, I think she's gorgeous, to be completely honest. There are so many shots with her where you just sit and you're just like, wow, she's beautiful, bro. I really think she is, bro. She is a gorgeous character. She's like Black Swan, but she's like Black Swan if Black Swan was a 5-star character. I'm sorry, that joke was funny to me. Anyways, she just looks great. I love the way she looks. I love her color. I love her kit. Actually, it took me a second to figure out, and by a second I mean it took me actually reading what she does to figure out what she does, and I think it's kind of cool. I like the whole focusing on intro outro skills. You know, having kind of a Nahida bubble for her ult. I know people don't like comparing these games, but this is just how it makes sense in my head. I don't compare them to be like, oh, they're taking from this game or they're doing that game. No, it's just so you can kind of visualize what I'm saying, right? I like giving the other examples, you know, just as a visualization, right? But moving on, one of the things that I love, absolutely love about this patch is the music. Dude, the music in this game, especially when Shorekeeper is playing the piano, it's so somber and so like sad in a way, the piano music, which I always said that I love the intro, like the loading screen music for Wuthering Waves, and I feel like it just didn't loop in a way where it would be amazing. And in the Blackshores, the music does loop, so you can sit there and just listen to it all day in a way where I think it's great. I love it, dude. I love the music, you know, Shorekeeper playing the piano, pretty cool. And it actually adds a lot, to be honest. Like, I feel like a lot of the scenes would not have had as such emotion as it did if it didn't have this music. Now, I think we need to talk about the story. I think the story flowed pretty well, which is something that I really like about Wuthering Waves, is that it's not exactly too big of a yap fest, you know? You're not sitting there like, oh my god, bro, please get on with it. Now, it also has like, I don't think it has too much dialogue bloat, to be honest, which sometimes it can be good, sometimes it can be bad, but I think it's pretty good. I think it flows pretty well. Abby didn't take up too much time. It wasn't awful or anything like that. I think it's always just good. And with every patch, we get a better and better performance out of the VAs. Now, chat, I'm just saying, maybe I like British accents because Shorekeeper, just listening to her was so soothing. But also, Rover, her VA, I use female Rover. Her VA is putting in work. She is getting better with every patch, and I love to see the improvement, right? Yang Yang as well. Yang Yang, although she is only part of it for like a short while, she does pretty well. I think she does a serviceable job. I think she does pretty well. Now, without having to recap a lot of the story, right? I think there are a lot of emotional scenes in this story that really get to me. I talked about it with the music. I don't know. I think this is a pretty emotional story that fits really well with like the setting with the Blackshores, and I love it. I think it hits pretty hard, especially when you go and you find Shorekeeper and you have just that emotional moment behind at the end of whatever. I don't remember what that area is called, but you just look into her eyes with the sunset, and it just hits, dude. She sits there, she's your whatever she is, and it just feels right, dude. Makes me want to have male Rover, but then I look at female Rover's thighs, and it's like, no, I made that right. I made the right choice, dude. When she turns around, you see the side of Boba. Obviously, I made the right choice. Anyways, there's one thing that stood out to me the most in this story, and that was there's a part in the story where there's a quick time event. I think it is the most badass thing ever. It was super cool. My only problem was it wasn't longer, and they don't have more of it. I thought it was super sick. You go like running on the side of a train, running across walls. I thought it was super, super cool. That was like one of the biggest things that stood out to me. Now, one thing that I do want to note was there's these new little NPC bots called the Coup bots, and I do want to say that these things don't really get in the way. Now, a lot of other NPCs will get in the way and they'll have yapping, blah, 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 blah. I think these guys were fine. They weren't too much in the way. They weren't too annoying. Pretty good. And after all that, you get to the story, and then you finally fight the boss. The boss, I think it's a pretty cool design. One thing that I really like is his berserker stage. When you get him to like half health, he'll go into a rage and he'll start fighting all wild like, and I think that's really, really cool. I think that makes his design really, really sick. But now, chat, it's time to get in there, chat. That ass is mine. I gotta get in there. We gotta go with the cons. Now, this is where I might lose some of you, but we gotta do it. I gotta do it for the culture, dude. I gotta do it for the one time. I gotta do it one time for the one time. Now, the first thing that really was annoying, and I keep trying to figure out why she's even in the story in the first place, is Yohu. Why? Yohu was literally put into this game for maybe 10 minutes. And it felt like it was just to showcase this character. You could have quite literally not had her in the story. And I'm going to be completely honest, after all the drama that happened around her, I can't look at her the same way. What really... But, you know me, chat. Even when I play a game like Nikkei, we are gotta get in there. We gotta get into the weeds of the character, into the meta, right? We can't get distracted by anything else. We gotta figure out how good this character is. And when it comes to Yohu, she honestly feels like ass. If you have Shorekeeper, don't even bother. That's all I'm saying. Don't even level this character. Maybe if I had a little bit more to do with like fighting or anything, maybe I would like her more. I don't honestly think she feels that great. She's kind of whatever. But I mean, it is Wuthering Waves. Even if the character sucks, you can make it work just off of your raw skill and raw talent alone. So if you're gonna get Yohu, by all means, after having Baiji, Verena, and Shorekeeper, I honestly don't feel like I need her. I'm not gonna do it, bro. I'd rather use my Jinshi as a healer than use her. Now there's a few plot holes, right? I'm sure anyone can go through it and find all the plot holes that they want, but one of the plot holes that I didn't feel like got resolved was Hoda being possessed. I don't really know how that happened. And after going through towards the end, you just kind of forget about it. I'm just like, oh, okay. I mean, you find Hoda in the Tethosphere and all that, and you get to know who they are and stuff like that. But like, you don't really figure out why they were possessed, and that's a little weird. Now, one thing that I will note, speaking of the Tethosphere, is I felt like the story lost me at some points, like with the Necrostar and it falling, and now this is causing a catastrophe or something. I could honestly not tell you what it was at this point. I had to go into Captain Cabinet's stream, and she had to explain it to me. I legitimately did not understand it, but you know, all that matters is the Blackshores resolved everything. Haha, which also comes to my next point. I feel like this story was a little too short. Now, this is something where we will say that Genshin does better than Wuthering Waves, is that Wuthering Waves stories feel like, how do I put this? If I were to name this story, you know how they have Natlan, Inazuma, all this seems like the stories of Jinzhou, because these are all one-off stories. It feels like none of these are connected, and they all have like their own random stories. Now, there've only been 3, right? There's been the main story, the 1.1, and then the 1.3. And these seem like their own one-off things. Like, I feel like these stories should have been a few patches long, especially this one. I think 1.1, it was okay. It didn't need to go any longer. I thought it was great. It's honestly been the best story of this game so far. But for 1.3, I felt like it needed to be fleshed out a little bit more, just so we can get a little bit more stakes and a little bit more resolution and finding a thing and all this, and just getting things resolved, right? Because one thing that really bothered me is whatever happened, all the stuff you went through with getting Shorekeeper out, it was all resolved off stream by waiting 2 days. I thought that was really weird. Like, why were we not part of finding that solution? They're just like, hey, come back tomorrow. We'll find the solution. Okay. Why? Why were we not a part of that? That seems really weird. Now, one thing I do want to talk about, which I did say that the boss was really cool. I like his design and like his Berserker state. I'm level 90. My characters are built. He's not hard. There's nothing about these characters that are hard. Maybe when we get to like his hologram, he's going to get hard. But it was just like, oh my god, the boss is fighting me. Holy. Okay, he's dead. Never mind. All right, well, there's that. Now, one thing I do want to talk about is Abby feels weirdly injected into the story. I don't feel like Abby was really that crucial, and then they just throw her in. I don't know. It's just a nitpick for me. I think it's really weird. And now, all in all, if Wuthering Waves is to continue forward, I really do feel like maybe they shouldn't ramp up the patches, but I think having a multi-patch story would, in my opinion, I feel like it would help. I think it would make this a lot better, because just having a one-up, like the Blackshores was finished in like 4 or 5 hours. It really should not have been that fast, in my opinion. I think it should have been fleshed out. Shorekeeper's whole thing should have been fleshed out more, so we can have an actual problem, which honestly, when she sacrificed herself, we're like, no, you can't sacrifice yourself. She's like, no, I want to sacrifice yourself. And we're like, no, you can't. It seems weird. Like, some of these story plot holes, it keeps it from being the best story, right? Because it's definitely up there. It's definitely better than chapter 5 and 6. I think that's it, right? Chapter 5 and 6, then it starts to 1.1. Definitely better than 1.2. That was a filler patch, but I think it could have been better, but I still had a great time. I had an emotional time. I had a very, very nice time. I want to give it probably like a 7.5. Like if 1.2 was like or 1.1, I should say, was like an 8.5-ish. I think 1.3 is probably like a 7, and then 1.2 is like a 5. Who cares about 1.2? It's a filler anyways. But I think Wuthering Waves is getting pretty good, dude. I really like these patches. I just wish they lasted longer, or at least we're in a shorter cycle so we can get more stories. These stories, if they're gonna be this short, bro, you honestly don't need as long as they do for these patches. But that's just my opinion. Give me your opinion. Let me know what you guys think. Do you guys believe? Do you guys actually agree with me? Do you guys think that I'm dumb? Do you guys think that I'm handsome? No, but tell me what you guys think in the comment section down below. And comment, like, and subscribe, chat, and I will catch you gamers in the next one. Bye.